Hey everybody, beautiful evening out here in West Virginia. I thought I'd bring a rifle out here to the range, the Ruger Precision Rimfire, but we're not looking specifically at this rifle. We're more interested in this scope right here. Now, this Ruger Precision Rimfire, being one of the more accurate firearms I own, I thought would be a pretty good test rifle for the Athlon Ares BTR Gen 3 4.5 to 27 by 50. Now, I already have a video on this scope where I unbox it and go over its features, and this scope was supplied to us by the kind folks at Athlon for these videos. Now, with it starting to get later in the year, we're getting closer to winter now. It's September 1st as of the filming of this video, so it doesn't stay light as long as it used to during the summertime. And I think it's going to allow us to test out the low light performance of this scope as we get closer to dusk here. We're also going to see how accurate this rifle and this scope combination will be, how accurate this scope allows us to be with this rifle. And we're also going to test the repeatability of this scope. We're going to do a box test on the target down range. But first off, we're going to shoot some groups with it. I already went ahead and sighted it in. It was very easy to sight this rifle in with these very large turrets right here. But let's go ahead, shoot a few groups, see how we do. We are at about 30 yards right here. And in that unboxing video, I noted that the parallax on this scope goes all the way down to 25 yards. So I figured this would be a pretty good precision rimfire scope. But let's go ahead and get to it. And if you're not a herd member yet, how about you go ahead and headbutt that subscribe button to join the herd here at WV Guns and Goats. Now, one of the tests of good glass is how it performs when you get into the lower light, like we are here at dusk. And we're going to shoot a group on the upper left target downrange. It's just I think it's a 4-inch square target here. Now, I've got about 10 rounds in here. Let's see how we do shooting for some groups here. All right, so I've zoomed all the way out right now, and the reticle is really fine at that point. So I'm going to turn on the illumination. We have a nice, fine, illuminated reticle there. I'm going to go ahead and take one shot at that target. Now I'm going to move up in the magnification. Now we're on 10x. The reticle still kind of fine. And the nice thing about a fine reticle, now sometimes it is harder to pick up, but when you're trying to shoot really small groups, a finer reticle can be better to have. So we're on 10x magnification. See if we can focus a little bit. All right, there we go. "15 times the magnification." Okay, so at this distance, 15 times magnification with the size of the reticle is a really good combination for what we're trying to shoot. Now we're at 20 times. "20 times is also a really good reticle size. I pulled that one just a little bit. I didn't have it in the other group there. But there is a dot that is starting to become visible at the 15 times and above magnification. So there's a dot in the very center of the crosshairs. And I did notice that I had to turn on the illumination because our targets are a darker color down range. Let's go to full 27 power magnification right now. Now the reticle is as big as it's going to get. I can see the 10 and the 20 on the bullseye, or sorry, of the reticle, the 10 and 20 marks on the reticle there. And then down below, I can see most of the Christmas tree, about 1, 2, 3, 4 of the drop bars of the Christmas tree there. Just put that right there in with the other group. So let's go ahead and turn off the illumination here. We have no illumination on our reticle, and a black reticle, black target with a lower light level. It is disappearing just a little bit, of course, but I can see it well enough to shoot. Just right there in the same group. And we're not wearing hearing protection today because we are shooting standard velocity out of a suppressed rifle in 22 LR. Okay, we shot 3 10-shot groups with CCI standard, and now we're shooting a 10-shot group with some SK. It's the last 10 rounds of SK standard plus I have on hand. So we're gonna see how accurate it is with these rounds. Now my observations on the scope, it's doing pretty well out here at dusk, even with it at its highest magnification. I'm actually going to turn it back to 20 just to let a little bit more light in. I did have to start using the illumination on here. Now I will say that I was using it at 3, looking through here. 5 is just a little bit too bright right now, and 6 is definitely really bright, but 4 and 3 are just fine for our lighting conditions right here. So I would say 5 and 6 are probably for your daytime brightnesses when you're out in the sun and you're looking into a bit of a darker area. I'd say you'd probably want to use the 5 and the 6 brightness level. So let's see how this does with the SK here. And if I do my part, it should be pretty accurate. Oh, had one more shot in there. We'll get that loaded back in, take that last shot there. All right, so one thing I've noticed, it is starting to get more, it's starting to get a little harder to make out the center of the target with the illumination turned on. I had to turn it down just here at the end to level 2. Okay, so we shot 4 really nice groups, and it is starting to get a little bit dark to continue shooting. So we had this scope out here the other evening towards dusk to check out the low light performance of the Ares BTR Gen 3, and I have to say it was great low light performance. I don't think you'd have a problem using this scope in a hunting situation at dusk or dawn. The glass quality is really good. When I would turn the magnification down from maximum, when I'd get towards a 13x magnification, I started to notice the image brightening up looking through the scope and then getting even brighter the less magnification I had. So that glass was really letting a good bit of light through. You saw the groups that we shot with the little RPR here, and the scope is allowing us to shoot very, very tiny groups on this rifle. So let's go ahead and shoot some groups here during the daytime. So this scope is very easy to get behind. Let me move my head forwards and we can see how close we can get to it before the eye relief becomes an issue. So right there. And right there. So we have a good bit of eye box and eye relief behind this scope. I don't have issues with the shadow of the eye box coming into play here. And right now I'm shooting Federal Auto Match ammo. And honestly, if you don't have a Precision Bolt Action 22, you should probably get yourself one. They're a ton of fun to shoot. All right, so this scope doing awesome out here during the daytime. The crosshair that it has with that dot in the center, allowing us to shoot pretty small groups. Let's zoom all the way in here and look at our target. Now the crosshair is not too fine and it's not too thick to the point where it's going to make it hard for us to shoot small groups on the target down there. I think some of this Federal Auto Match ammo, it varies a little bit in the powder loading on it. Some of those rounds sounded a lot softer. Now we're shooting some Federal High Velocity Match. Well, that group was all over the place. That ammo, this stuff right here, wasn't the greatest. I'm really liking this Athlon scope though. And it's nice that you have a scope that has parallax that goes all the way down to 25 yards. So you're just not restricted to having this on a center fire caliber shooting at a much longer distance. Now, I do eventually want to put this scope onto a center fire AR and see how it does at ranges out 100 to 275 or so yards. But right now, as a precision rimfire scope, I think this would be a really good option for you guys out there who are into precision rimfire rifles. Gonna try out this Match 22 here by Gecko. And this stuff actually has a noticeable waxiness or greasiness to the rounds. I can definitely feel it on my fingers when I'm reloading the magazine there. Let's see how it shoots though. All right, excellent groups again with the Ruger Precision Rimfire. So next we're gonna do a box test with this optic here. We're going to shoot a group, probably about 3 rounds, and then we're going to go up. We're gonna shoot another group, then we're gonna go right, shoot another group, and then we're gonna go down, shoot another group, and then we're gonna go to the left, and we should be back at our original group. And here are the results of the box test. Our first group was the lower left-hand group. We shot 3 rounds. Then we added 10 numbers of elevation, shot that group, took it over 10 more numbers to the right, shot that group, 10 numbers down, shot that group, and 10 numbers to the left, and shot that group right with the first group. All right, it's getting a little windy out here, so please excuse the wind noise. Now I put this scope on this Ruger Precision Rimfire here on the short range because before I had it out at the longer ranges on the IWI Carmel just to see how accurate that rifle could be, and it turned out to be battle rifle accurate. So we're talking 2 to 4 MOA. But I didn't think that was a good indication of what this scope was capable of. That's why I have it on the Ruger Precision Rimfire right here. And the scope did not disappoint when it was paired with a rifle that was accurate enough to make use of this scope. I do like the fact that you're not just restricted to using this on a centerfire precision rifle because the parallax does go down to that 25 yards, so you can use it on a rimfire rifle like I am right here. The glass quality, the light transmission, excellent on this scope. The eye box was good. I didn't find myself fighting the eye box. No matter what the magnification was, this scope was easy to get behind. And at dusk, let in plenty of light, especially at the lower magnifications. And the illumination on here allowed us to shoot until it was getting too dark to really see out here. If you're looking for a scope that can do double duty, rimfire, and centerfire precision, I still do plan to get this scope out to the range on a centerfire rifle at a later date and try it out past 100 yards. But if you're looking for that kind of scope, I would check out the Ares BTR Gen 3, and coming in at under $1,000 with the features it has. I know I touched on this in the unboxing video. I really did like the aluminum scope caps and how they thread in to the end of the scope, how they thread in to the sunshade there. I really thought that was a nice addition to this scope. You can check them out at Athlon's website. And everybody, if you've made it this far to the end of the video, I really appreciate you watching. And this has been another WV Guns and Goats video. As always, if you're not out there having fun shooting, well, what are you doing?